Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. I've actually never been live on Facebook before, so I hope this is working out. Thanks for everybody checking this out. So the purpose of this is just to give you a little more access behind the scenes and see what's going on. So if you've got a question about podcasts or wrestling or credit or mortgages or whatever, drop it below and we'll get going. John says, "Boy, you look tired, Conrad. Buddy, this is what I look like at the end of the day every day, which is why you normally see me first thing in the morning. We actually record our podcast on the weekend, Tony and JR and Eric and I. And man, we'll start at like 5 a.m. or something silly. But, we got to get it done. So morning is way, way better. Hey, Michael Abbott. Good to see you in here. Hey, Josh. I see you too. Oh, Tyler, shouting out the old Crockett Cup. Yeah, man, it's going to be here before you know it. I'm actually coming back from our spring break on night one of that, and we've got like a little 80s party that we planned a while ago, but we couldn't get done because of COVID. So we're doing that on the 19th. But I'm actually going to try to scoot over to the Crockett Cup on night two and take some of my friends. So we're pretty excited about that. Mark wants to know, did you ever drop a third testicle? No, Mark, I haven't. Good luck with that. You should probably check with a doctor. I've seen online that maybe that's not that big a deal, but I don't have any first-hand experience with that. Preston wants to know, what's it like being Ric Flair's son-in-law? About what you'd imagine, I'm sure. He gets mobbed in public, and, well, he gets a little wild every now and again, but no, it's been a blast. And, it keeps it interesting. Hey, Cody. See you there. Oh, Chris Atkinson. How about that? Shout out to Chris. Eddie Prather says, if you were able to pull a Tony Khan and have your own wrestling promotion, name 2 or 3 guys, past or present, he would want to be your booker. Man, that's tough. I mean, I guess Paul Heyman would be near the top of the list, and Bruce Pritchard. So, go with what you know, right? I guess I would pick those guys. If I could expand it to a third, and if we're saying past or present, I would include Pat Patterson. If I had to include another present, it'd be Kevin Sullivan. So I guess that would be my group. Paul Heyman, Kevin Sullivan, Bruce Pritchard. There's my booking committee. And if we could go all time, sure, why not? Let's throw Dusty in there. And, yeah, certainly Pat Patterson. Hey, Amy. Amy Vaughn with us here. Shout out to Chip from Northwest Ohio. I see you there, Josh. Tyler Henson, night 2, Nashville. See you there for the NWA. James, we're having a great time. Thanks for being here. Josh, were you a bigger fan of WCW in the 90s? I was pro WWF, but appreciate WCW now. I actually watched both. I grew up a WWF kid, so you go back to like 88, 89. I was peak fandom for me through 88, 89, 90, 91. And I was definitely a WWF guy. I loved Hulk Hogan, loved the Ultimate Warrior. But eventually, I started to become more and more into the NWA. Sting was my favorite. The Steiner Brothers were my favorite. Great times. But yeah, during the height of the Monday Night Wars, I would record one and watch the other. I usually recorded Monday Night Raw, and I would watch Nitro as it happened. Hey, everybody. Good to see you, Alan. Francis says, what's your cutoff year for pay-per-view reviews? What's your cutoff year for pay-per-view reviews? Well, let's see. I mean, we did a lot with Arn Anderson for 2016, I think, in 2021 before we sort of flipped formats. So Arn was there most recently, I guess, of anybody. And, Bruce was there through, I think, November of 2009. So if you're thinking about Bruce, November of 2009, and I forget exactly when JR quit doing commentary, because I know that he was still with the company, but wasn't actually doing commentary. James wants to know, is Jeff Jarrett starting up another wrestling promotion? Well, the joke on the podcast is he's definitely not. But the answer is no, there's no plans. And I know it's fun to joke about online, but no, I'm not starting a wrestling promotion, and I don't think Jeff Jarrett is, unless he's kept it a big secret. But we do see all of that, and it's fun to just have an inside joke. But no, I like being on this side of the guardrail. Preston wants to know, who do you think is the all-time greatest commentator? I like Gordon Soley. I like Jim Ross. Um, hey, Kenneth. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to Bobby over in Oklahoma City. John wants to know, am I wrong in thinking you're someone involved in the Woo podcast? No, I'm certainly involved. I'm friends with Mark Madden, and obviously Ric Flair's my father-in-law. No big secret there. The guy who sells ads for our podcast helps sell ads for their podcasts, and obviously they have Dave Silva help with some graphics because, well, why not? We know, like, and trust Rick and Mark, and they asked for a little bit of help, so I said, hey, yeah, I'll introduce you to my guys. Russell Haddock says, been a long time for me. I've seen your name forever, Russell. Glad you're on here. Your empire keeps expanding. It's inspiring to see you handling everything you do. I appreciate that. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you watching my interview that dropped today with Brandon Walker over at Wrestling from Barstool Sports. Absolutely love Barstool. Think the world of Brandon. He's so fun. Appreciate you checking that out. Oh, Eddie, I hate to hear that your mom passed away 10 years ago today. That's tough, dude. I'm still lucky enough to have my mom here, but somewhere here in my office I've got a picture of my grandma, and whew, that's tough, man. Hey, Terry, appreciate you being here. Kenneth wants to know, who are some other guys you'd like to have a podcast with? Probably the usual suspects you might imagine. Mick Foley would be awesome. William Regal would be awesome. I think a Road Dogg story would be fun. You got all the territory days and the WCW enhancement talent days, and then the Attitude Era, and then TNA, and then more modern WWE. And I think, we've all kind of heard a lot of the Attitude Era stories, and we have an insatiable thirst for them. But I tend to think that modern WWE would get a lot of questions. Jennifer wants to know, my husband attended the St. Louis live show and is hoping you have another in Nashville for SummerSlam. Well, we have a hold on a couple of buildings now, so stay tuned. John wants to know, does your mortgage business operate in upstate New York anywhere? Thanks for all your continued hard work. We're not in New York yet. We've got a pending license. We've had it for a long time. I've found through this process it's incredibly difficult to get licensed if you're an out-of-state mortgage company. So hang tight. We haven't crossed that bridge yet, but we've got the pending application. So at some point, we've submitted fingerprints and the whole jazz. So we're getting close. Cody wants to know, what's your favorite pay-per-view? Probably ECW One Night Stand 2005. And if you're thinking more modern stuff, All In was just a movement. It was awesome. I was really, really thankful to have an opportunity to be in the building for most of that show. And as far as, my peak fandom as a kid, it was probably Halloween Havoc 96 on the WCW side of things, and probably like WrestleMania 5 or 6 for the WWF side of things. Bobby wants to know, what was the first belt you purchased that got you into collecting belts? My first belt way back when was a Figs ECW TV, but my first actual belt, like a ring-used belt, was the Big Gold. And Dave Milliken told me at the time, boy, it's all downhill from here. Jason wants to know, how much to rent a room at the Conrad Anything? Well, it's not available for rent, but let me give you a pro tip, Jason. You should buy a house. You shouldn't be renting a house. You don't need to put 20% down either. We get a lot of questions about that, like, do I really need to save up and have a huge down payment? Do I need 20% down? No. Now, will you get more favorable terms if you put down a bigger down payment? Of course. Will you get a cheaper monthly payment the more you put down? Of course. That's the way math works. But the reality is, if you buy outside of the city limits, you can probably use a USDA loan or what's known as a farmer's home loan, something like that, and you would have the ability at that point to get a house with no money down. Or of course, if you're a veteran, you could do no money down. But we've got a bunch of other products that have you putting down 3 or 3.5 or 5%. So that's kind of the minimum. Josh says, do you have a favorite you do podcasts with? Well, Bruce is still my sympathetic favorite because it was really the first one, and we just became best of friends there for a long, long time, and still are. But yeah, him and Tony will always have a special spot just because they were first, right? but I'm having a blast with all of them, and all of them are a little different. Going into it, I think if I would have told my future self, hey, you're going to be doing a podcast with Jeff Jarrett, I don't know that I would have believed that, but man, we just get along so well, and the content has been really, really good. Michael wants to know, any chance you could branch your mortgage biz out to Canada, as we like to say here on the show? No, I don't think so. Maybe one day, but I can't imagine that we're anywhere close to that right now. Hey, Vincent, appreciate you jumping on with us. James, yes, mortgage rates are going up. They've already started going up, and you're going to continue to see more of that. I mean, the trend for the rest of the year is that rates are going to go up. All the experts have rates in the 4s right now, but we're probably headed to rates in the 5s by the end of the year. So they're going up, not necessarily a catastrophic amount. It wouldn't blow my mind if we saw rates in the 6s, but I don't think it's realistic that we're going to see rates in the 7s. So homes will still be very affordable based on the financing, but what we're in right now is a tough spot because home prices are on the rise in a big way. I saw a house in northern Georgia that sold last year for $550, and it sold this year for $1.2. So even if you bought that house last year at, say, 6%, which would have been what we know today as a higher rate, I mean, look at what you captured in equity. So do I think that growth will continue from a real estate standpoint? Yes, especially if you're in certain pockets that are more attractive. I think in this COVID era, we're no longer thinking that we've got to be so close together and that we have to go straight up. I think now we can spread out a little bit, meaning I think some of your major metros like New York or Chicago or whatever, it's going to be more attractive to get out into the suburbs. So I would think being, a landowner, a homeowner that's not necessarily in a condo or a townhouse or a high-rise or apartment, something like that, I think that would make a huge difference. So rates are on the rise, but so are home values, so don't get left out. Chris Atkinson says, Road Dogg is a definite. Yeah, man, if you could just get some of those more modern WWE stories, I think that could be awesome. But, who knows what the future holds. Neil wants to know, any thoughts on Sean Oliver and kayfabe commentaries? Yeah, man, I absolutely love kayfabe commentaries. Their timeline series is tremendous. The Shoot Interview had been around for a long, long time, but man, Sean Oliver's crew and kayfabe commentaries, they took it to a whole new level. When I got back into wrestling, I discovered their product, and I was hooked on the timeline series specifically. Absolutely love it. Sean's written a couple of books. I read the book about his story and really enjoyed it. He had me on his podcast. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but man, if he was to jump back into podcasting and make a big play, golly, that would be fun. I would love that. Jeff says, you've been podcasting for about 6 years. Oh, man, I lost it. I don't know how I lost it. Michael says, when are you coming to Southern California? Man, when WWE runs a big show that we can piggyback, I guess. Michael wants to know, will you and JR ever do podcasts on the Cowboy and Territory days working for the Cowboy? We've done a few here and there, but mostly behind the paywall. But at some point, yeah, I would love to just have a full-blown interview with Mr. Watts. Preston says, do you still have the butterfly robe? Absolutely. I don't think I can legally even sell it. What was the first live event you attended? It was a show here in 1990 at the Von Braun Civic Center with the WWF. Just want to say how excited I am for the next episode of Insiders. Thanks, Dave. We're locking down some guests right now. Really looking forward to it. Haven't pulled the trigger just yet, but pretty fired up about it. Taylor Henson says, I'm going to be relocating to Charlotte next month. Any recommendations? Man, get in early. I would encourage you to lock down that real estate as soon as you can. Charlotte has just been a bonanza, dude. Their values are shooting up through the roof. South Park seems to be pretty popular, and they just put like a Ted's Montana Grill. I forget that area of town. Wherever that is, buddy, that area is blowing up. Hey, Brian, appreciate you being here. Jason wants to know, is there a chance of a Conrad Hulk Hogan podcast? Probably going to be tough, just based on Hulk's schedule. I don't think he's really wanting to be beholden to a schedule. Bobby wants to know, why did Tony Schiavone not come out to St. Louis? He needed to do some stuff with Lois, and she's not getting around like she used to. Jeff says, let Bruce how much we appreciate him. You got a special message coming to you this Friday on Something to Wrestle from Bruce. Appreciate you saying that. Chip says, my wife and I have a handful of months away from paying off one of our vehicles, and we plan on keeping the vehicle. Where would you suggest we put those funds after the vehicle's paid off? My mortgage, my 401k, or other debt? I would encourage you to do the debt snowball that Dave Ramsey talks about. If you've got other credit card debt, make a list of your debts, smallest to biggest, and start knocking out the little ones and work your way up to the more expensive ones. Looking forward to a potential review of Victory Road 2011 on My World. I thought we did that, but maybe we didn't. I thought we did, because I think I know what you're talking about. Any plans to come out for live events in Denver or Cheyenne? We did one a few years ago. I would love to be back out there. It's a beautiful area. It was my first trip out there. But as a rule of thumb, we're trying to like piggyback major pay-per-views for AEW or WWE. So when you get one, we'll be there. John Soto says, I lost both of my parents this past October. Damn, hate to hear that. 3 days apart at the same time. I was hospitalized from COVID. What I need to know is all your podcasts help me. Your in-depth conversation with these legends and your humor is just the perfect mental escape, and I mean that genuinely. Thank you. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate you jumping on and share that with me, man. Sorry to hear about your parents, doggone, but hopefully you're better and out of the hospital and doing your thing without COVID, because that stuff is no joke. Hello, Armando. Thanks for checking in with us. Russell says, I missed the tightness from the podcast row / pre-ad-free show days, but change and growth is inevitable. Yeah, man, once upon a time when I was just doing one podcast a week, it was a different animal. Who would have ever imagined that this would be where we are? Not me. Denovius Mack wants to know, the best advice is to get out of credit card debt. I would agree with that. If you've got credit card debt, man, pay that off as fast as you can. And keep the account open. I get that. It's certainly going to help your credit score if that's something you care about or keep up with. But if you can keep your credit card balance to 9% of your limit, that would be most ideal. Hey, Chris says, hey, purchase and get out of rent while rates are low. I like that. Refi now while your house has the most equity. Totally agree. Michael wants to know, what's your favorite belt you own? The big gold. Jason Payne says, have you had a chance to listen to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wrestling podcast? Very enjoyable. I put it third to Conrad Pods and Busted Open. Nice of you to say. No, I have not listened to his podcast yet, but I hear great things. Brian Allen says, no tiki, no laundry. That's a deep cut from 83 weeks. Thanks for coming in. Francis wants to know, are you planning to come over to the UK? And will you try out some of our great food over there? I've been over there 3 times now. But yes, we're hoping to get back this summer. Stay tuned for details. Preston wants to know, are you going to do any more Dark Side of the Ring? I don't know what they're doing with Dark Side of the Ring. The rumor and innuendo is that they might be working on some new projects, but I don't know more details. Mark wants to know, do you need a rub down? I appreciate that, Mark, but I think I'm good. What's up, Topeka, Kansas? Good to see you on here, Matt. Terry, we all love Lois, and she's doing just fine. I just think she likes being a homebody these days. Vincent wants to know, what's my favorite storyline today? I like the Roman Reigns storylines pretty well. I love seeing Charlotte interact with Ronda, and I don't know if it's a storyline, but the Cody stuff has got my attention, so we'll see what that is. Michael says, just started listening to 83 Weeks after being a loyal fan to Something to Wrestle and hearing Eric poo all over Meltzer as well. Does this change your opinion of him after both Bruce and Eric discredit him? No, it does not. Love me some Dave Meltzer. Do you think you can ever be a wrestling character, play-by-play announcer, or manager? No, Amir, I don't have any desire to do that. I'm just going to hang tight. Yes, James, we are licensed in Nebraska. Hit us up over at SaveWithConrad.com. Be glad to help with that. Bobby wants to know, hey, Super Show Live, Kevin Nash's Shenanigans starts at 10. Will your event run up to his, or is there downtime between? There is downtime between. They're going to turn that venue around. Who was and is the best wrestler manager? Paul Bearer was always my favorite. That comes to us from Josh. I mean, it's probably got to be Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, and Paul Heyman. I think that's 1, 2, 3 for me. Nick wants to know, what are the Crockett Cup thoughts? My thoughts are, hey, it's cool. I love the name. I'm glad they're back. Can't wait to be there night 2. Kenneth says, I have 15 years left on my mortgage. I'm thinking about refinancing. Any suggestions on my options? Kenneth, my advice would be let's take a look at your other debt and let's see what your goals are. It's hard for me to sit here and guess how old you are and what other debt you have, but my goal would be let's get the cheapest rate, paid off the fastest, paying you the least amount of interest possible. But don't just look at your mortgage as a separate thing. Let's look at all of your income, and then let's look at everything you've got going out, and then let's save you some money. So if you've got any other debt, I would take a look at that. Michael says, any possibility of a conversation with Dutch Mantel? Maybe. I like that. Nick wants to know if we'll do a Scotty Too Hottie podcast. Yeah, we'd love to have him over at adfreeshows.com sometime. Andy Prather says, have you thought about doing something with the Tennessee stud, Ron Fuller? I had lunch with him once, but I don't really know him. Paul's great, and maybe you're right or die, but I have to say, when Paul's with JR, it's magic. More red ass than usual. Hey, I appreciate that. They've done a great job together. Really excited that they're here. Jennifer wants to know, I've seen you attend New South in Alabama. Do you attend other area indie shows? I've been to a few. I've been to Rocket City Championship Wrestling in New South, but I think that's probably it. Matt says, when can a brother refi with you in Georgia? We're working on it, baby. We got a pending application, hopefully sometime soon. I'm not sure when we're coming to Detroit, Eric. Probably piggyback a major WWE event when that happens. Brian thinks the Conrad drink should be served at every bar. A lot of people agree. That's good stuff. Dave wants to know, are you like me and looking forward to something to wrestle in 2027 when Bruce won't tell you how much money Stone Cold got for his return match? Yeah, I don't know what we'll be doing in 2027, but I hope we're podcasting, and I hope he can talk about this most recent run. Hey, there's Diane Raber, y'all. Diane Raber's here in our group chat. Boy, she's been with me forever now. So if you're looking to do your loan with somebody here at Save with Conrad who's been around a day or two, boy, Diane Raber's been doing loans longer than I have. She's the GOAT, man. Armando says, do you still listen to Jim Cornette's podcast? Do you enjoy his random stories that happen to him on a regular basis? Armando, I listen a little less now than I used to, simply because I travel less. Once upon a time, I was on like 3 flights a week, and when that was happening, yeah, I listened every single week. I mean, that was my traveling show. But no, I don't listen as much as I used to, but I still catch clips on YouTube. They do a great job. Mr. Raymond wants to know, who do I enjoy picking on the most, Bruce or Eric? Probably Bruce, because he'll sell for me, which is fun. Michael wants to know, if you had to ask Vince one question, what would it be, business or storyline related? It would definitely be business, for sure business. Jeff wants to know, in your 6 years of podcasting, how has your attitude changed towards wrestling? It's changed my fandom for sure. I enjoy now. I have an opportunity to sort of be the booker for some of our live shows and conventions and things like that, and that's fun. So now, instead of looking forward to being surprised, I look forward to providing the surprise sometimes, which is fun. What's a bad gimmick match like the blindfold match that you actually thought worked? I love that match. Charlie, not that. That was a terrible idea. Terrible. Russell says, any advice on how to get higher credit and / charge card limits? Any advice on how to get credit scores back into the 700s or higher? Russell, that's a great question. You need to have a perfect payment history in terms of your 0 times 30. Now, what that means is don't be more than 31 days late. If you can manage to do that, man, you're half the battle. So if you're going to be late, don't be more than 30 days late. Be like 28 days late. Now, if you can, don't be late at all. But don't be more than 30. That's number one. Number two would be to keep your balance at like 9% of your limit or less. So if you had a $1,000 credit card limit, don't spend more than $90. As long as you can do those, buddy, your score is going to be in the 700s before you know it. Jason says, who do you think in the modern product could be a megastar besides Lesnar and Reigns? Charlotte. What do you think I was going to say there? Are you still trying to convince Joey Styles to do a podcast? Ryan wants to know. No, I have not. I haven't talked to him in a while. What's up, Charlie Thrower? Good to see you here. Michael Lee, we would love to come to Long Island. No plans right now, but I've never been, so I'd love to get out there sometime. My concern is getting the Top Guy weekend and the pay-per-view at the Conradison. What say you for Bobby Duncan talking about ad-free shows? Well, we shared it on ad-free shows. Top Guy weekend is either going to be in Chicago or in Nashville. Armando wants to know, what's Dave Silva doing right now? He's here in the office. What's up, Blake Chance? Good to see you. Kenny Bolin thoughts from Nick. I've never met Kenny Bolin. Seems like a nice guy on social media. Don't really know him. Brian says Bruce still thinks Hogan should have had the title for the European tour. I get that. Francis wants to know, do you get to do any sightseeing when you have downtime on your tour? What's your KFC order or your Wendy's order? My KFC order is diarrhea. Nobody should eat at KFC. It's not very good. Coleslaw's the jam. Everything else is, not pleasant. Wendy's, I like the spicy chicken sandwich, and who can hate on a Frosty? Michael wants to know, have you ever chatted with Corny about the DQ incident? No, but I saw this explanation on a shoot interview, and that was fantastic. Yes, Nick, I think Jeff Hardy is awesome too. Chip wants to know, is there a limit how many times you can refinance your home? I refinanced at the beginning of COVID when rates were crazy low. With getting a great rate, I don't want to refinance in the future unless I absolutely have to. I was just curious if I could do it again sometime if need be. Yeah, absolutely, man. There's no limit to how many times you can refinance. You can do it as many times as it makes sense. And if you've got any other debt where your house doesn't pay off before you need it to, meaning before your kids go to college or whatever, maybe it makes sense to shorten the term. There's more to a mortgage than just the interest rate. The term is really the killer. Preston says, I've never met Bruce Pritchard, but I got to meet his brother, Dr. Tom, a couple of weeks ago. He's a class act. I totally agree. Jeff, no, thank you for jumping on here, man. We're going to be here every Wednesday and hang out and ask some questions. Maybe it's a half hour, maybe it's an hour. We'll just see how it goes. Matt, that's nice of you. I don't think I'm the GOAT, but I appreciate that. Francis wants to know, one tip to improve your credit score. Here's two. Don't be 30 days late. Keep your credit card balance at 9% or less. That would be the big one. Thanks for Dave saying that ad-free shows is worth every penny. Nick, I've never done a podcast with James Storm, but we are going to have him as a guest over at adfreeshows.com at some point this year. Omar wants to know, or Amir, sorry, what's so special about Hook? I just don't get it. This is the presentation, man. He looks like a star. My thoughts on James Storm are he's a great guy. I've met him a few times. Really a salt of the earth, good dude. I think if he lived closer, we would hang out. Hey, Greg Price, shout out to Greg. You and your crew do such a great job, an incredible job rather, documenting wrestling history. Proud of your continued success. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate you saying that. Ever talked to Cornette about doing a podcast before Brian last? No, Matt. It never came up. You know, he had a podcast when I met him the first time, and it seems like they're doing pretty well. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Michael wants to know if I played any wrestling video games growing up. I did. I love Power Pro Wrestling. I love No Mercy. I love WCW Nitro, WCW versus the World. Those were fantastic. Any ideas thrown around for an ECW podcast? We've got all the others covered. Yeah, I talked to Taz a few years ago. I tried to pitch Joey Styles once, and obviously I would love to do something one day with Paul Heyman. Maybe one day, me and Taz can do something. What's your thoughts on a podcast with Bill After? We've had him over at adfreeshows.com. I think we'll have him again. Is there any chance to join the special weekends without subscribing to Patreon? No, sir. The whole Top Guy Weekend thing is really just for folks who support us throughout the year. Matt wants to know, can you tell my wife Lexi that Cody Rhodes is going to WWE to end a bet? I have no inside knowledge, and if I did, I wouldn't share it. But I do not. I don't know if he's signed with WWE. I swear on my mama. Jeff wants to know, I'd like to see a Michael Hayes podcast for stories about the glory days of World Class. I would too. If you love the old stories about World Class, listen to yesterday's show with Jeff Jarrett, My World. We had some on there. Josh wants to know, what are your thoughts of the Montreal Screwjob? Was Vince justified? I think it all comes down to lack of communication. If they could have over-communicated, I think it could have been avoided. I think it's a shame that it went down the way it did. It's interesting to think if Bret had stuck around through the Attitude Era, can you imagine how much bigger of a star he would be? I mean, I think we would be talking about him because, listen, when you think about it, that happened in November. Shawn hurt his back in January. So 2 months later, Shawn goes down. 2 months after that, Shawn's out. So if Bret hung in there and it was Rock and Austin and Hitman and Undertaker, buddy, that could have been huge. Michael says, I love your gimmick when you convert Canadian figures to American. It's always $16. Yeah, it is. I love Progress Wrestling, Francis. I'm friends with those guys and pretty excited to see what they're going to do. I know they've got some big plans this year. I too would love to have Jeremy Borash on the Insider podcast, but he still works with WWE. I know everybody else seemingly was let go, but he's still there, so I don't think that's going to happen. Would you and Bruce do a watch along from one of the shows on the Old School Network? Yes, just got to pin Bruce down. Wow, Terry says being a top guy has changed my life, and I'm not exaggerating. You should jump in. You won't regret it. Appreciate you saying that. Bobby and Dennis, Bobby and Stan, or Bobby and Arn. I mean, I love Bobby and Arn, but it's probably Bobby and Dennis for me. 2 years ago, it would have been Bobby and Stan. I've just seen more of the Dennis stuff now. Conrad, did you ever get Bruce out to the ECW arena? Yeah, we did a show there. We did a live show there, which was pretty cool. You're living every wrestling fan's dream, man. You rock times 100. I appreciate you saying that. Do you think there's room for another promotion? I'm talking about CYN. Man, I'm excited to see that. You know, it seems like those guys are pretty pumped about it, so should be fun. We'll see. Can we get David Manning back for more world-class stories? Coming up, we're working on some stuff with him now. Have you ever seen the Nature Boy Paul Lee? And do you feel how do you feel about him copying Flair's act? Listen, he's a nice guy, and you know he's having fun, and Rick doesn't care, so I don't care. Rajiv wants to know how long after purchasing a home can you get rid of the PMI? That's a great question. Well, if you refinance out of an FHA loan into a conventional loan, you can get rid of it. If you have a conventional loan but you have PMI, there is a process. But what you would have to do is order an appraisal through your current lender, and they would have to agree to do it. But if you do a new refinance with us at SaveWithConrad.com, we can just get rid of the PMI. Zoel wants to know, does the Ukraine situation play any part in the housing rates? Specifically, what you're going to want to look at is the 10-year bond. So if you're looking, and normally how this works in relation to, say, just as a rule of thumb, if the stocks had a great day today, that's probably bad for rates. If the stocks, man, the bottom fell out, it was a bad day on the Dow, and that means that's better for rates. So take a look at the 10-year bond. That's how securitized mortgages or mortgages are packaged and sold. So when is Shane O'Mac showing up on AEW? Probably never, Mike. I think that would be a fair assessment. Probably never. Probably never. Dave Parsons says, according to a recent John Arezzi podcast, Greg Valentine was once engaged to Medusa. Were you aware? Yes. She has had some pretty serious relationships a few times, I think, here in professional wrestling. If you're not ever podcasting in the mortgage or working on your mortgage business, do you have any other passions or hobbies? Yeah, man. I mean, I like to travel. I like cars. I like real estate. I like watches. I like shoes. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Sorry, Matt, I can't help you get unblocked from Eric Bischoff. Message Evan Polisher on Twitter. Maybe he can. Dan wants to know, do you ever think back to when you were a kid about how crazy it is that you would come and how unreal it actually is? Did you ever envision blowing up in the industry to this level? Dan, I don't know that I've blown up in this industry. Here I am doing a Facebook Live for my mortgage company. So how blown up am I really? Nobody else is here. I've got a handful of people in the back answering the phone, but I'm still here. So I don't feel blown up. When do you think Bruce will be fired again? Michael wants to know. Not now. I don't know if you've seen, but they just set a record. They're more profitable than ever. So I would think it would go the other way. I'm sure instead of Bruce getting fired, Bruce is probably getting a raise if I had to guess. I don't know, but Lord, their numbers are crazy. Francis wants to know, what's the cool painting behind you? That's actually a gift. Oh, other side. Oh, there it is. From our gimmick attorney and some of my friends in my group chat. They got it for me for Christmas, or maybe it was my 40th birthday. It was fantastic. Charlie wants to know, what's your favorite game? I think you mean like an old video game. Probably something like Paperboy. That was fun back in the day. My favorite show is Jeff Jarrett. You bust his balls so much and he takes it in stride. We both know he wasn't a horseman. Ryan, I'm going to like that one. I appreciate that. Hey, Nick, appreciate you coming out to South Broadway in St. Louis. Who's your favorite podcast editor and producer? Well, it's JoJo. Hey, everybody say hello to JoJo in the comments here. He edits up all of my shows. Does a great job, too. Hope to finally meet you at Low Key Big Hog Weekend. Any news when that'll be announced? That's a Tony Schiavone thing. He usually coordinates that with his daughter, and I don't know. But I would guess it's probably going to be Chicago, but I'll find out. Any plans to watch the upcoming Batman with Tony Schiavone? No. I can't get Tony to come to my wedding. You think he's going to the movies with me? That's a no. I don't see that happening. How proud are you of Charlotte main eventing WrestleMania again? That gets a like. 10 out of 10. You know, she's making all of her dreams come true, and I couldn't be happier for her. Chip says, I'd like to apply for a home loan sometime in the future, but when my wife and I pulled the trigger, we want to do some home updates and remodels. Is there a home loan separate that you would pay, or would it just be applied to the back end of my mortgage? That's a great question, Chip, and here's the deal. My advice to everyone, if you're looking to buy a house this year, is buy the worst house on the best street. And we've got a loan product that can help you do that, get you the cash out to turn that house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. Not a lot of folks have it. Most of the banks and credit unions won't advertise it or promote it. Some real estate agents think it's too complicated. It's not. In fact, Diane Raber, who's here in the chat, she can do it, and she's great at it, and she would be happy to help you with that. So good luck on that. We would love to help you. Hit us up, savewithconrad.com. Michael wants to know, how excited are you for your Major Bendy's action figure? Very. I've never had an action figure. That's a sentence that I never expected to say, but now I'm going to have one this year, and we've ordered some here at the office to just give away. Can you beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? Serious question. I never have, but I've tried many times. I've seen guys do it, but I hadn't played it in 30 years or more. Are you watching the Auburn game tonight? No, I am not. I will not. Who would you pick to dethrone Reigns? That comes to us from Mike. Whoever the next big guy is. But if I'm honest with you, I don't know who that would be at this point. But I do think whoever you find to do that is sort of a made guy. If I had to pick my guy right now, I would say it would be Big E. I hope. We'll see. Who is the most accessible and friendliest wrestler in public? Probably Mick Foley, if I had to guess. I mean, I'm just guessing. Armando wants to know, what's my favorite episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm? All of them. I love them all. Shane, I don't know what my three questions would be if I got to sit down and ask questions to Vince. I assume they would be old business questions, but I don't really remember, like, a question that would just jump off the page, like, oh, I got to ask Vince this. Like, I just hadn't spent any time on that hypothetical scenario. Michael says, when did you first meet your wife, and did you know who her dad was? Yeah, I met her at her dad's at his 65th birthday in 2014. So late February 2014 is the first time I met her, and we went on our first date in August of 2016. Michael wants to know, will you do a live show in Fort Wayne, Indiana sometime? Yes. Black Label Pro is probably going to book something with us. My man Mikey over there, he'll probably bring us out sometime, if not this year, next year. I refinanced with you guys last year. Thanks for that, Don. Wanted to finish my basement for years. Do I get a second mortgage to do that? You can, or you can refinance your first mortgage. Hit us up over at savewithconrad.com, or just shoot me an email, conrad@savewithconrad.com, and we'll help you out with that. We'll get you the cash you need for sure. No problem. Any insights on the Savage Stephanie situation? There isn't one. It's internet made up nonsense. Which match would you headline on night 1 and night 2 of Mania? Night 1 I would do Charlotte and Ronda. Night 2 I would do Brock and Roman. I think you probably want to have title matches go on last, so I might put the Austin one right underneath, or maybe 2 matches prior to Ronda and Charlotte. That's what I'd probably do. Yes, Charlie, I love that Danhausen. Everybody does. Does Disco Inferno or Conan ever get your go? I think you mean get your goat, maybe? I like those guys. I know that a lot of people think Disco is controversial. He's always been cool with me. Joseph wants to know, what kind of stuff is on your reading list as far as books when you have time, fiction or nonfiction? I don't read any fiction, never have, unless it was a school assignment. I don't like it. I really like business books. I really like motivational books. I really like mindset books, like business books, right? I really like that. I like psychology books, but I love autobiographies. So a guy telling his story in his words is just phenomenal. I just today got the Wahoo book. I didn't even know that was a freaking thing. And I saw it earlier this week. Maybe it was Monday. And I saw that he had a book that his wife wrote. And I was like, oh, I'm buying that. So it came in today. Rajiv says, if your house is not your forever home, do you still recommend getting a 15-year loan? I do, Rajiv. And here's why. It might be, but it might not be. But no matter what it is, you want to create as much equity for yourself as possible, and you want to pay as little interest. What I'm most interested in is how do I keep more of my own money? And the way to do that is a shorter term and the lowest rate. Dead or alive, who would you like to do a podcast with? If we're saying dead, I would like to do it with Bobby Heenan or Dusty Rhodes. If we're saying alive, Mick Foley or William Regal or Michael Hayes or Paul Heyman, somebody like that. Do you not? Adam Hughes, get out of here. I'm not answering that. Shane Douglas will be a good choice for an ECW podcast. Could that happen? Well, he has a podcast, so go listen to his podcast. He's already doing one, bud. Please come to Northern California for a live show. Rajiv, I would love to. We need to get AEW or WWE to run a big show, and we'll do it. Charlie wants to know, can you tell us the status of Dark Side of the Pod? There isn't one, because there's no Dark Side. So, no Dark Side, no show. I don't know what's going on with the new season, but I'm hopeful that we get some sort of announcement soon. Conrad, you came to St. Louis and didn't invite me for Emo's Pizza or Pappy's Smokehouse. No, Louie, if I'm honest, I forgot you were in St. Louis. But I did have Emo's, but it was delivered. And I went to some steakhouse that was fantastic. It was the best spinach salad I've ever eaten in my life, and I'm not kidding. That might be Pappy's Smokehouse, but it was a pretty cool place. It was a steakhouse, but it had like an old school vibe. It was awesome. Preston wants to know, better Midnight Express lineup, Eaton or Lane, or Eaton and Lane, or Condrey and Eaton. As a kid, I liked Lane better. As an adult, I like Dennis better. So, Taylor Schiffman wants to know, what's your favorite Birmingham restaurant? Oh man, there was one for years. Let me look it up. I don't remember off the top of my head now. But man, it was like I had triggerfish there once, and it was like the best. The Highlands. The Highlands, that's it. Absolute favorite. Hey Oliver, Michael wants me to say hey Oliver, appreciate you letting Dad come on here. Rick, I was glad to be on your podcast. Thank you for that. I don't put sauce on my fries or my chicken. Sorry, Francis. The book I recommend if you're thinking about getting into sales is The Psychology of Selling. Thought I might have a copy up here. I guess I don't. Maybe they're in the back. Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. It is the absolute best. I highly recommend it. Conrad, would you buy the entire WCW inventory if presented with the opportunity? It doesn't seem like WWE is going to do anything with it. It's never going to be for sale. It's going to be sold one day when WWE sells it. But yes, if it was available for $2 million, if that's really what they paid, I would buy that today. Please and thank you. Will you be on Fight for the Live show that you're doing with Jeff and Eric? Yes, it's available for pre-order now over at supershowlive.com. If you could own any piece of wrestling history, what would it be? That's a great question, man. There's a lot of really good pieces out there. I would probably like to have the Winged Eagle from WrestleMania 4 or 5. That would be my favorite. Nobody knows where it is, though, as far as I know. Or one of the belt that Hulk Hogan won at WrestleMania 3, which I think he has in his shop. Because I was lucky enough to hold that one. It's just freaking fantastic. If WWE does a UK Stadium show, or AEW does one, will you consider doing a show over here? Absolutely. In fact, I think that happens. I think it happens this year. The biggest question that everyone wants to know, will you ever get the six-man title? I wish. Doesn't look so good right now, does it? What's your favorite podcast you do? Eric wants to know. Probably something to wrestle, if I had to guess. Kenneth Sperry says, what's on your Mount Rushmore for ring entrances? Man, there's a lot of really good questions there, but I don't really know the answer to that. I posted, that's tough. Like, I love The Undertaker's at SummerSlam 92. That was fantastic. But I'd have to think of some other, like, really grand ones. One Night Stand Sandman 05 comes out. Why is Arn 100% correct about cheese not belonging on a burger? Boy, you're a crazy person. Rick wants to know Kanye or Drake. Kanye. Big Kanye fan. If you haven't checked out Kanye's new Genius over on Netflix, go check it out. Episode 2 dropped today. I absolutely loved episode 1. Can't wait to check out 2. So I guess 3 is a week from now. Are you familiar with... oh, it just went away. It was like, are you familiar with? Question. Let me find that one. Are you familiar with Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly? No, I'm not. Got to check that out. Here's another one here. Favorite piece of memorabilia you own? A big gold belt, and then the butterfly robe. Dean wants to know, has ad-free shows outlived your expectations? I think you mean exceeded my expectations. I didn't think it would be closed, but yes, I'm very pleased with the revenue. It's the highest grossing wrestling Patreon by far, and we're just so thankful to have the support that we do. Man, some of these questions are flying by now. Let me see if I can scroll up and find them here. How many meals do you eat each day? What's a go-to snack? How many hours of sleep? How many hours of work? I wake up every day in time to do a live radio hit. Sometimes I'm up super early, sometimes I'm not, but I never sleep past 7:30, and I'm on the radio by 7:45 or so. And then I'll be done by 8, and if I haven't already showered because I woke up late, then I'll shower then and hit the office or sit down in front of my computer and start recording podcasts. So usually 8 until, and until is really flexible. Saturday and Sunday morning are usually blocked off from about 6 o'clock till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I have a real weekend starting at 1 in the afternoon. I eat 3 meals a day. My wife usually makes me some yogurt with fruit in it for breakfast, and if I'm working from home, she'll make some sort of tuna salad or something. If I'm here at the office, I'll either go to lunch or I'll have lunch brought in, and I usually eat, I don't know, steak, chicken breast, whatever. But I keep a steak knife here in my desk, and I made a wrestling personality laugh when he wanted to have food brought in, and I had it here for him, and he was ready to go, and his paper knife or plastic knife broke, and I said, do you want to use mine? And he said, you just happen to have another plastic knife? And I said, that's not a knife, and presented the steak knife. So yeah, it comes in handy. How many hours do I sleep? More thanks to Chili Sleep. Chili Sleep really has changed my life. My wife is obsessed with it now too. But you know, on a great night, I might get 9 or freaking 10 hours of sleep. But most of the time, it's about 7. Prior to Chili Sleep, it was like 6. Conrad, I prefer Eric's Bischoff music you played in St. Louis versus the WWE theme. What say you? I'll be honest, I don't even know what that was. I need to ask Silva. He would know, because I do not. Michael wants to know, who's your all-time favorite wrestler and why is it Brutus Beefcake? It's not. It's Charlotte Flair, because why not, right? Terry says, do you have an early memory of wrestling that stands out? Yeah, WrestleMania 4 on VHS, double tape VHS, was something else, man. Seeing the Macho Man win was just fantastic. All-time favorite tag team from Preston, the Steiner Brothers. Early Steiner Brothers was hard to beat. Over on the WWF side, I know it's not popular, Demolition. Woof! It was awesome. Rajiv wants to know, what's the best way to get a job working with the Podfather? Get licensed to do mortgages? I don't know. What do you want to do, Rajiv? If you want to do something podcast-wise and you got an idea, let's do it. Jason says, Santino or R-Truth? I don't know either guy real well, but R-Truth seems like he's done a phenomenal job. Eric wants to know, if Cody arrives back in WWE, who do you think he'll feud with first? And who would you have him feud with if you were booking it? I've thought a lot about that, and I honestly don't know the answer. I think everybody noticed there was some sort of tongue-in-cheek references from Miz this week. Personally, I hope it's not Miz. I love Miz. I think he's one of the biggest success stories there. But I hope that when we see Cody debut, everybody does a double take like, what was that? And I think Miz is maybe predictable because of that promo now. Yeah, if we get to a Miz thing, I think that's great. I just wouldn't want to start there. What's the angriest you've gotten at a podcast? Man, that's hard to say. You know, I've had a lot of fights. The Bruce European tour is one of them for sure, for Hogan. And then I guess what most people listen to is Starrcade 97, you know, the whole finish with Sting Hogan. Carlos wants to know, Cornette or Heyman, who's better on the mic? If I think that's the timing thing. If you say Jim Cornette, All right, guys, you have 60 seconds. Do everything you can to get over and sell the match. Okay, that's Jim Cornette. Hey guys, you got 10 minutes? I'm going Paul Heyman. I think, Cornette's a knockout puncher. Paul Heyman's more of a pugilist. Paul Heyman is Lennox Lewis. So Paul Heyman, I guess Lennox Lewis would eventually beat Mike Tyson, but it was a different style fight. If you're looking for that big uppercut, woo, Cornette's your guy. What barbecue grilling chefs do you follow? Myron Mixon. He's my favorite. When was the last time you actually put together a mortgage? This week, earlier today. Seth, I'd be happy to help. If you got a question, man, hit me up. I just talked to a guy today. I don't want to share his name, but his story was he works here in Huntsville, and his company, he works on the Arsenal, got a new contract, but the new contract is less money, so he has to take, both he and his wife have to take a 25% pay cut. So they need to refinance out of their 15-year loan just to make their house affordable. So they got some pretty bad news, and he was pretty shook up about it, but we're going to find a way to pay off some of his other debt, keep his monthly payments exactly where he needs them, so he's not stressed out. But yeah, I put them together every day, Daddy. Come on with it. Josh wants to know, what are your thoughts on gimmick matches? Eric is so anti-gimmick, it's nuts. I like some gimmick matches. I just think sometimes they take it too far and it gets a little silly. A real heated discussion with Pop ever? That's from Carlos. Yeah, I think that's normal. If you're going to do business with somebody, you'll have some uncomfortable conversations. But I don't think we've ever been in a, hey, we're going to fight type situation. That's not really my deal. Taylor says, do you think you could take Tim Tebow in a fight? I think you'd surprise yourself. Why would we be fighting Tim Tebow? What a random deal. Cody Cox says, I'm a genuinely good guy, or I seem like one. I'm happy for your success. Cody, that's nice of you to say, man. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you taking the time. Conrad, it was the theme music with the NWO cuts. Okay, I don't know what that means, but cool. Thank you. What was your gimmick name when you played wrestling as a kid? We pretended we were the Steiner brothers, me and my buddy Eric. Charlie wants to know, do we need a photographer for the next StarCast? Maybe. I don't know what we're doing for the next StarCast. So if and when we announce, hit me up. Travis wants to know, please cover Russo's New York rules. Just wondering, oh, I just lost it. Sorry, buddy. I don't know what happened there, but it just went away. Just wondering, what was your go-to match or pay-per-view when you're reliving your favorite moments? Is there a go-to match you always revisit? I show new people, so someone who hasn't seen it before, I'll show them Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero from Halloween Havoc 97. They love that. But if I'm just watching like a favorite of my own, I'm going to watch Austin and Brett from WrestleMania 13. I also really enjoy Vader and Flair and Funk, the I Quit match. But the Vader one from Starrcade, because they told such a great story. John wants to know, I'm sure it's been explained before, but how did you and Rick become such good buddies? John, I met him through another friend, and he was going through some challenges. He had been sent to the joint, if you will, because when Reed passed away, he was probably drinking too much. And I probably didn't help that, because whenever he would call and say, hey man, do you want to watch the draft? Hey man, do you want to? The answer was, yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, I was there when he needed a friend. That's pretty much the gist of it. How cool is it you work with your family in the office? It's cool sometimes. A lot of the times, it's not cool all the time, but it's cool sometimes, for sure. I have Wu-Tang Wednesday. Do you still have 2 Chainz Tuesday? No, not since I am a married man. Once upon a time when I was hanging out, I had 2 Chainz Tuesday, but not anymore. Rewatching Nitros from 97, 98, I noticed a lot of the talent never mention which pay-per-view. They just call it the pay-per-view. How much of this is a lost branding opportunity? A lot. You would see that, that wasn't the case in the WWF. They drill down WrestleMania and SummerSlam. They point to the signs and all that. So, yeah, there's something to that. Eric says, hey, Conrad, did your wife ever want to become a wrestler? Just asking because her brothers and sister got into wrestling. No. No interest at all. Never. At any point. Starrcade 91 was my favorite show. Love the Battle Bowl. Watching it now is hard to get through. Yeah, it is. It is hard to get through. Mike wants to know if WCW won the Monday Night War, what would wrestling look like now? I would guess a lot different. I would think a lot different. Here's a question. How early should I realistically start the first time home buyer process if I don't want to buy until the late summer? That came to us on Twitter, but I felt like it was a good question here. I would recommend that you get pre-approved as soon as possible. And a lot of people think pre-qualified and pre-approved are the same thing. They are not. Pre-qualified just means, in theory, am I approved? Pre-approved means, no, I'm actually approved. And what we can do at savewithconrad.com is we can actually get you completely underwritten. So a lot of people will do something like an online approval where it just goes through this system. It says hypothetically you qualify. But when we actually send your file to an actual underwriter, then they come out and they say, hey, here you go. Here's exactly what we need in order for you to be clear to close, meaning you could go ahead and proceed with your transaction. And we do like two sides of that underwriting. We're going to underwrite the borrower and we're going to underwrite the property. So if you get a green light underwrite, which is what we call it, then you'll be essentially able to negotiate like a cash buyer. Because at that point, all we need is the appraisal and your homeowner's insurance, and you're good to go. So I would recommend that you do that process way in advance, because that'll give you an idea of what payment you're comfortable with, how much you need to save up, what your buying power is. But really, it all comes down to me. Hey, what do I want my new payment to be? No more than blank. And once we identify that, it makes shopping for the house a whole heck of a lot easier. And I relate it to, you wouldn't take your wife to dinner at Ruth's Chris if you didn't know that you could afford it. Well, I would also recommend that you don't go show her houses that you're not sure if you can afford. And there is a difference between what you can afford and what you want to pay, and what you're comfortable with paying. So I would work on that. Here's another. I'm looking to do some remodeling in my home. Would it be easier to borrow against my mortgage to get the money or apply for a loan to help me with the remodel? I would never ever get a loan that wasn't real estate attached for my real estate. I would always encourage you, if you're borrowing money for your house, it should be house attached. A, you're going to get the best possible interest rate. B, you're going to get the tax deduction. So let's say, for instance, if you said, I'm going to do a $40,000 remodel with Lowe's, and they're going to put me on this credit card, and I'm good to go. Well, your interest rate's probably going to be double digits. I mean, I don't know how high it'll be. Maybe it's 14%, maybe it's 28%, but it's freaking high. And whatever interest you're paying is not tax deductible. Whereas, if you just pulled that equity out of your house and you refinanced your current loan, let's say you were 2 years into a 30-year loan, so you've got 28 years left. I would recommend we look at a 20-year loan. Maybe we could cut 8 years off, or maybe we could look at a 15-year loan and cut 13 years off. But get you the 40 grand you need. It's going to be at a great rate. All the interest you pay will be tax deductible. And then if something ever happens to you, you have real estate attached debt, as opposed to, I've got this other thing that's a crazy high rate and killing me. Mike says, how do you have time in the day for everything you do? It's superhuman. Well, I don't know about that. I appreciate you saying that. It's just a lot of planning and a great support staff. Rajiv says, Save with Conrad saved my dad a bunch of money to where he's actually thinking about semi-retiring now. Thank you all, especially Francis and Larry. They were awesome. Francis has been my right hand here at the office for years at this point. And Larry is obviously my dad. So yeah, there's a chance that you'll be talking to Larry, my dad, if you start a loan here at savewithconrad.com. We'll do one last one, and then we're going to wind up here. Can I improve my credit if credit cards, or how can I improve my credit if credit cards don't approve my application? That's a great question. And the advice is, you're going to loan yourself the money. I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. I, once upon a time, did not have the right credit mix for a higher credit score. I was somewhere in the mid-sixes, but I didn't have any delinquency, but I didn't have a credit card. All I had was a charge card through American Express, and we were using it for business expenses. So it would be a massive amount of money that I was paying back every single month, but it didn't rate it the same way that a credit card would. I know that sounds silly, but it's all about the scoring model that the credit bureaus use. So I went down to my local bank where I did my checking and savings, and I said, hey, here's $5,000, and I want to get, no, it was $2,500, and I want to get a line of credit secured against it. So I gave the bank $2,500, and then they gave me a $2,500 line of credit. So I went and charged a tank of gas on it. and then paid it down to $5, and then it reported, and the next night, or not next night, the next month, I was up over 100 points. I strongly advise that you get a credit plan in place to boost your score. And some of it makes no sense, meaning, I was probably paying, I don't know, $80,000 to $200,000 a month on my American Express, because again, it was all business expenses. So we run everything we could through the American Express, and then we were good to go. But that didn't help my credit score at all. And so I went and got this little funky little $2,500 line of credit, and ta-da, well, we were good as new. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys jumping in here. We have had a lot of fun. We're going to try to do these every single Wednesday here at Ask Conrad Anything. Like the Facebook here and tell your friends about it, and we'll be back next Wednesday. And if you've got questions for next week, just drop them below here, and I'll start there next week, and we'll get going. And we'll see you back here next week on Facebook. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.